Dillon Gabriel finally breaks silence. The Oklahoma transfer, third-round selection, organizational afterthought suddenly demands recognition nobody expected. His words land like grenades inside Brown's facility. I've been ready for QB1. That single declaration changes everything. Immediately, inevitably, thoughts shift toward Shedeur Sanders. Because Gabriel's proclamation isn't confidence, it's a declaration of war. This transcends typical quarterback competition rhetoric. Gabriel isn't requesting an opportunity. He's demanding validation. He's challenging organizational hierarchy. He's directly confronting Brown's most explosive situation since draft night chaos erupted. For anyone tracking Cleveland's quarterback dysfunction throughout training camp, this represents an escalation nobody predicted. Gabriel remained diplomatically silent during suspension fallout, organizational turmoil, media circus surrounding the facility. Now, a complete strategic reversal, a public statement, bold positioning, a calculated risk, attempting to reclaim a narrative spinning wildly beyond control. The timing couldn't possibly be worse. The Browns stumbling through humiliating preseason losses, Kevin Stefanski facing mounting criticism regarding game management, play calling decisions, roster evaluation competence. Jimmy Haslam reportedly furious watching another quarterback controversy destroy carefully constructed championship aspirations. Cleveland's fan base exhausted, frustrated, questioning whether the organization possesses the basic competence to navigate routine personnel decisions. Then Gabriel emerges declaring readiness, while Shedeur Sanders is already demonstrating dominance everyone witnesses daily. Let's dissect Gabriel's statement because words matter tremendously within professional football's political landscape. I've been ready for QB1 carries multiple interpretations. Surface level suggests confidence, preparation, competitive fire. Deeper examination reveals something darker, resentment. Gabriel isn't merely expressing readiness. He's implying organizational blindness. He's suggesting coaching staff misjudgment. He's subtly accusing the Browns of favoritism toward the fifth-round media sensation, despite his superior technical proficiency, system mastery, and professional approach. This represents a passive-aggressive challenge wrapped inside a motivational soundbite. Sources close to Gabriel's camp suggest the statement represents a calculated strategy shift. Following suspension aftermath, Gabriel's representatives allegedly advised silence, patience, professionalism. Let the situation resolve naturally. Trust the coaching evaluation process. Maintain a team-first mentality publicly. Gabriel apparently rejected this approach entirely. He's watched Shedeur Sanders accumulate starting repetitions, media attention, locker room influence, organizational momentum. Gabriel trained precisely, studied extensively, executed flawlessly during limited opportunities, yet consistently overlooked, favoring a younger quarterback possessing superior name recognition, social media following, and highlight reel capabilities overshadowing fundamental quarterbacking proficiency. Here's where complications intensify dramatically. Gabriel's public declaration forces an organizational response. Stefanski cannot ignore a direct challenge toward the established hierarchy. The front office faces impossible positioning. Support Gabriel's confidence, risking alienating Shedeur's supporters. Dismiss the statement, appearing dismissive toward a third-round investment. Remain silent, appearing indecisive amid mounting pressure. Every option carries significant consequences. Every response analyzed microscopically. Every word scrutinized for hidden meanings, political motivations, and future implications. But let's address the undeniable reality. Gabriel apparently refuses to acknowledge Shedeur Sanders isn't merely ready. He's already proven it. The numbers don't lie. When Shedeur takes the field, offensive production skyrockets, completion percentages improve, explosive plays multiply, touchdown opportunities materialize, and red zone efficiency transforms. Most importantly, the energy shifts palpably. Teammates rally differently, receivers fight harder, offensive linemen block more aggressively, and the defense feeds off the offensive momentum. This isn't subjective evaluation, but measurable impact visible throughout every practice session, every preseason appearance, every competitive situation. Consider viewership statistics because professional football operates as an entertainment business. When Shedeur plays, ratings explode. Casual fans tune in specifically watching Sanders' performance. Social media engagement multiplies exponentially. National media coverage intensifies immediately. Cleveland becomes must-watch television overnight. This transcends football talent toward a cultural phenomenon. Gabriel possesses solid quarterbacking fundamentals, respectable decision-making, and adequate physical tools. Shedeur Sanders represents star power, generational talent, a franchise-altering presence capable of transforming organizational trajectory permanently. The locker room dynamics reveal everything. Multiple sources confirm veteran players gravitate naturally towards Shedeur's leadership. His confidence is infectious, his competitive fire inspiring, his preparation meticulous despite perceived shortcuts. Conversely, Gabriel struggles connecting beyond the position group. His technical competence is respected, but his personality doesn't resonate. Professional football requires more than mechanical proficiency. It demands charisma, leadership presence, and innate ability to make teammates believe impossible victories are achievable. Shedeur possesses this intangible quality abundantly. Gabriel, despite impressive credentials, simply doesn't. Don't misunderstand Gabriel's capabilities. His college production speaks volumes. Multi-year starter, consistent statistical performer, proven winner, navigating multiple offensive systems successfully. His football intelligence is exceptional, his work ethic unquestionable, and his character beyond reproach. Under different circumstances, Gabriel represents a legitimate starting quarterback within the NFL landscape, perhaps developing behind an established veteran, perhaps competing against a similar draft position, perhaps joining an organization lacking clear franchise quarterback direction. But Cleveland isn't that situation. Cleveland drafted Shedeur Sanders specifically because ownership, regardless of coaching preferences, recognized transformative potential ordinary prospects cannot replicate. Gabriel's statement timing is particularly fascinating considering the recent organizational turmoil. The suspension controversy barely settled, practice routines just stabilizing, team chemistry slowly reconstructing following a devastating fracture. Then Gabriel detonates another explosive device directly into the fragile environment, desperately requiring stability, unity, a clear direction forward. Some insiders interpret this as calculated desperation, Gabriel recognizing diminishing opportunities, attempting to force the organizational hand through public pressure. Others suggest genuine frustration boiling over after weeks suppressing legitimate grievances. Regardless of motivation, consequences remain identical. More controversy, additional distractions, deeper organizational dysfunction, precisely when the Browns desperately need the opposite. Fans reacted predictably, swiftly, brutally. Twitter became an instant battlefield. Gabriel's supporters emphasizing technical superiority, system knowledge, and the traditional development path deserving respect. Shedeur's defenders mocking Gabriel's delusional confidence, highlighting the obvious talent disparity, questioning whether Gabriel genuinely believes his statement or is desperately attempting to remain relevant amid the inevitable conclusion. Memes multiplied exponentially. One trending post featuring Gabriel's quote alongside Shedeur's highlight reel captioned, "One says he's ready, one proves it daily." Another showed Gabriel speaking while Shedeur throws a touchdown pass in the background. Talk is cheap, touchdowns aren't. National media personalities immediately pounced. Stephen A. Smith, never missing an opportunity to amplify controversy, laughed dismissively during a first take segment. This man, Dillon Gabriel, talking about QB1 is like me saying I'm ready to play point guard for the Lakers. You can say it, it doesn't make it true. Shedeur Sanders is that guy. Cleveland knows it. The league knows it. Apparently the only person not knowing is Dillon Gabriel himself. Shannon Sharpe doubled down characteristically. The Browns have their franchise quarterback. His name is Shedeur Sanders. Everything else represents noise, distraction, desperation from someone watching a dream evaporate in real time. Skip Bayless, predictably contrarian, defended Gabriel's confidence while acknowledging the uphill battle. I respect Gabriel speaking up. Nobody hands out starting jobs. You demand them. But respecting confidence doesn't mean ignoring reality. Shedeur Sanders possesses superior physical tools, better instincts, a higher ceiling. Gabriel's statement won't change those facts. Even typically diplomatic analysts like Dan Orlovsky express skepticism. Confidence is important, but performance matters more. Shedeur's tape speaks louder than Gabriel's words. Inside Brown's facility, anonymous player quotes reveal a deepening division. One offensive lineman supposedly told local reporters, "Dillon's a good quarterback, but Shedeur's a different level entirely. No disrespect toward Gabriel, but we're riding with Sanders." Another veteran player stated confidentially, "Gabriel saying he's ready just makes things harder on himself. The locker room already decided. The coaches already decided. The only person not accepting reality is Gabriel." A defensive captain reportedly expressed frustration administration. We're trying to build a championship culture, and quarterback drama keeps undermining everything. Both guys need to figure this out privately instead of creating a public circus. Kevin Stefanski finds himself navigating an impossible situation worsening daily. He suspended Gabriel, attempting to establish authority, maintaining discipline, and sending a clear message regarding organizational standards. Gabriel returns publicly challenging those same standards through a media declaration, essentially stating, "Your evaluation is wrong, your decision-making is flawed, your judgment is questionable." How does a head coach respond, maintaining credibility while avoiding further inflammatory escalation? Stefanski's carefully crafted diplomatic approach suddenly appears weak, indecisive, and incapable of controlling the spiraling narrative. Front office dynamics are equally complicated. Andrew Berry drafted both quarterbacks, investing organizational resources and professional reputation on the accuracy of his evaluation. Gabriel's public statement indirectly questions Berry's draft strategy, development plan, and roster construction philosophy. If Gabriel truly represents QB1 caliber talent, why select Shedeur in the 5th round? Why create a competition instead of committing definitively? Berry's silence following Gabriel's comments speaks volumes. Addressing the statement legitimizes the controversy. Ignoring it appears dismissive. Supporting either quarterback alienates the alternative faction. Jimmy Haslam's perspective is particularly intriguing considering his draft night proclamation sparked the original controversy. Sources suggest Haslam initially was furious regarding Gabriel's statement, viewing it as insubordination toward organizational authority. However, other insiders claim Haslam privately appreciates the competitive fire, believing Gabriel's confidence indicates the proper mentality for a franchise quarterback. This paradoxical reaction perfectly encapsulates the Browns' dysfunctional decision-making ownership, simultaneously demanding respect while celebrating behavior undermining the established hierarchy. Let's examine performance metrics objectively. Because emotional narratives aside, statistics reveal the truth. Preseason snaps were limited for both quarterbacks, but available data illuminates significant disparities. Shedeur's completion percentage, 68.4 sacred percent, Gabriel's 61.2%. Touchdown to interception ratio, Shedeur 5.1, Gabriel 3.2. Yards per attempt, Shedeur 8.9, Gabriel 7.1. Quarterback rating, Shedeur 104.7, Gabriel 87.3. Third down conversion rate with Shedeur, 47%, Gabriel 33%. Red zone efficiency, Shedeur 71%, Gabriel 54%. Every measurable category favors Sanders convincingly. Beyond statistics, film study reveals deeper disparities. Shedeur processes defenses faster, identifies coverage rotations quicker, and anticipates throwing windows earlier. His arm talent generates velocity Gabriel cannot replicate despite superior mechanics. His improvisational ability creates explosive plays when structured concepts break down. His pocket presence remains calm under pressure, while Gabriel occasionally panics facing immediate threats. Most significantly, Shedeur's decision-making reflects a veteran understanding despite limited professional experience. Knowing when to accept the checkdown versus forcing a contested throw. Understanding game situation dictating risk tolerance. Recognizing when to escape the pocket versus stepping up and maintaining the throwing platform. Gabriel's supporters argue system familiarity advantage, suggesting additional time mastering the playbook eventually bridges the talent gap. This reasoning ignores a fundamental reality. Shedeur's learning curve accelerated dramatically throughout camp. Coaches initially concerned regarding knowledge deficiencies now express amazement regarding his retention, application, and adjustment speed. One offensive assistant supposedly stated privately, "Shedeur grasps concepts faster than veteran quarterbacks I've coached. His football intelligence is exceptional beyond his years." Gabriel possessed a months-long head start, yet Shedeur is already approaching equivalent system mastery while maintaining superior physical capabilities. The psychological warfare element cannot be overlooked. Gabriel's public statement represents a calculated attempt to undermine Shedeur's confidence, creating doubt and applying pressure. Professional football operates partially within a mental battleground where perception shapes reality. If Gabriel convinces enough people his evaluation is correct, perhaps organizational momentum shifts favorably. Perhaps the coaching staff reconsiders. Perhaps Haslam intervenes, forcing a competition extension. This strategy requires Shedeur responding poorly, cracking under pressure, performing inconsistently, validating Gabriel's implied superiority claims. Unfortunately for Gabriel, Shedeur thrives amid controversy, seemingly feeding off external doubt, transforming criticism into competitive fuel. Consider Coach Prime's influence, hovering omnipresent despite public silence. Dillon Sanders mentored Shedeur extensively, preparing him precisely for situations like this. Gabriel's comments undoubtedly reached Sanders' awareness. Expect motivational messaging, strategic advice, and mental preparation intensifying. Shedeur already possesses a remarkable competitive mentality. Paternal guidance amplifies this advantage exponentially. Gabriel essentially challenged the Sanders family legacy, suggesting their quarterback evaluation is flawed, their development approach insufficient, their confidence misplaced. This personal dimension elevates the stakes beyond a typical position battle. Conspiracy theories naturally emerge amid organizational chaos. Some suggest Gabriel's statement represents a coordinated effort with the coaching staff attempting to force ownership's hand. Perhaps Stefanski recognizes Shedeur's talent, but philosophically opposes ownership interference regarding personnel decisions. Perhaps Barry privately supports Gabriel despite drafting Sanders, viewing the Oklahoma product as a safer developmental investment. Perhaps the entire situation represents an elaborate power struggle where the quarterback competition serves merely as a proxy battle for organizational control. These theories circulate extensively throughout league circles, amplified by Cleveland's documented dysfunction history. Media coverage intensifies exponentially following Gabriel's declaration. National reporters descending upon Cleveland, seeking angles, quotes, controversy extensions. Local journalists cultivating sources, chasing rumors, analyzing body language during practice sessions. Former players offering opinions varying from supportive toward dismissive. Suddenly, every Browns-related content generates massive engagement. YouTube creators dissecting interview footage, frame by frame. Podcasters dedicating entire episodes analyzing implications. Reddit threads exploding with speculation, debate, and heated arguments between competing factions. Cleveland's quarterback situation transcends a sports story, becoming a cultural phenomenon dominating news cycles. This attention carries significant consequences beyond the immediate quarterback decision. Free agents observe the organizational dysfunction, questioning whether Cleveland represents a desirable destination despite the talented roster. Draft prospects potentially hesitant, joining an unstable environment. Current players contemplating future options, recognizing volatility. Coaching candidates evaluating Browns openings, understanding ownership interference patterns. Gabriel's statement inadvertently damaged Cleveland's reputation throughout league circles, not through the content necessarily, but through revealing organizational inability to maintain internal discipline, unified messaging, and professional standards. Looking forward, multiple scenarios exist. Scenario 1. Stefanski definitively names Shedeur the starter, ending the controversy permanently, while Gabriel accepts a backup role professionally. Scenario 2. Gabriel's comments force an extended competition despite performance disparities, delaying the inevitable conclusion while maintaining dysfunction. Scenario 3. Gabriel requests a trade, and the Browns accommodate, eliminating the controversy while losing a developmental asset. Scenario 4. The situation escalates further through additional public statements, locker room divisions, and coaching staff conflicts requiring drastic organizational intervention. None represent ideal outcomes. All carry significant risks, potential complications, and lasting consequences. The salary cap implications deserve consideration. Gabriel's rookie contract represents a valuable asset, an affordable quarterback potentially contributing immediately, or a tradable commodity, acquiring additional resources. His public statement diminishes his trade value significantly because other organizations recognize the discontent, desperation, and declining organizational standing. Teams exploit these situations, negotiating favorable terms. The Browns potentially forced to accept inadequate compensation simply to remove a problematic situation. This represents asset mismanagement, amplifying draft mistake consequences unnecessarily. Gabriel's statement ultimately reveals more about organizational culture than quarterback evaluation. Healthy franchises prevent public controversies through clear communication, defined hierarchies, and consistent messaging. Players understand roles, accept decisions, and trust processes, even when disagreeing personally. Cleveland demonstrates the opposite: unclear authority, inconsistent messaging, and public disputes revealing internal chaos. Gabriel felt comfortable publicly challenging organizational decisions because boundaries remain undefined, consequences uncertain, and leadership fractured. This cultural deficiency extends beyond the quarterback position, affecting entire roster construction, coaching stability, and competitive sustainability. For Cleveland's fan base, Gabriel's comments represent another crushing disappointment within decades-long quarterback misery. They desperately crave stability, competence, a simple, straightforward development plan executed professionally. Instead, they're witnessing another controversy, another media circus, another organizational failure managing a fundamental team-building process. Their patience is exhausted, their optimism depleted, and their expectations reduced, hoping merely to avoid complete disaster rather than anticipating championship contention. Gabriel's statement reinforces negative perceptions about Brown's organizational competence, frustrating supporters already questioning whether the franchise possesses the capability to escape perpetual dysfunction. Stefanski's response becomes a defining moment determining his coaching legacy. He can decisively end the controversy, supporting Shedeur unequivocally, establishing authority, and sending a clear message regarding organizational standards. Or he can equivocate, extend the competition unnecessarily, and appear weak amid mounting pressure. His decision reveals his leadership philosophy. Does he prioritize short-term peace, avoiding confrontation, or does he embrace difficult decisions, establishing a long-term cultural foundation? Championship organizations require coaches making unpopular choices confidently despite external criticism. Stefanski's handling determines whether the Browns develop a winning culture or perpetuate historical dysfunction patterns. The oncoming storm. The regular season approaches relentlessly. Meaningful games begin shortly, requiring definitive roster decisions, clear depth chart establishment, focused preparation, and eliminating distractions. Gabriel's statement complicates everything precisely when Cleveland desperately needs simplicity, clarity, and unified direction. Divisional opponents watch gleefully, recognizing a competitive advantage, exploiting obvious organizational vulnerability. Defensive coordinators studying the Browns situation, preparing game plans, targeting quarterback uncertainty, practice discord, and coaching hesitation. Ultimately, Gabriel's declaration, "I've been ready for QB1," represents more than a confident athlete believing his abilities. It symbolizes organizational failure, managing routine competition, establishing clear authority, maintaining professional standards, and preventing public controversies. Shedeur Sanders didn't need public statements proclaiming readiness because his performance speaks definitively. Gabriel's words reveal insecurity, desperation, and frustration stemming from recognizing the inevitable conclusion approaching despite resistance. Cleveland Browns face a critical crossroads determining the franchise trajectory extending far beyond the immediate quarterback decision. They can establish organizational discipline, support coaching authority, and end the controversy decisively, or they can perpetuate dysfunction, delay inevitable conclusions, and damage competitive possibilities unnecessarily. Gabriel spoke publicly. Shedeur responds through performance. Stefanski must decide which message receives organizational endorsement. The entire league watches another Browns quarterback disaster unfolding predictably, wondering whether Cleveland possesses the capability to learn from historical mistakes or remains condemned to repeating them indefinitely. One certainty exists amid swirling uncertainty. This controversy transcends typical quarterback competition, becoming an organizational referendum. Gabriel says he's ready, Shedeur Sanders proves it daily, and Cleveland must finally choose which reality it accepts before the season begins. Rosters finalize. Competitive opportunities evaporate permanently. Time expires rapidly. Decisions require making. Consequences await regardless of the choice. Welcome to the Browns quarterback drama, where nothing is simple, everything is complicated, and organizational dysfunction reigns supreme perpetually.